we'll have Gurarti. So please do stick around, and if you have any questions, please do ask. Have you been to a Gita class before? Okay, it's the first time. Good. All right, so before we begin, we always usually, whenever there's a class, we start with a short singing and invocation. So we'll sing a little bit. If you're familiar with it, sing along. If not, just clap your hands and then we'll chant Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Your turn. Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Your turn. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki, Srila Jagat Guru Prabhupada ki, Nittai Gaur Pramanande. Hare Krishna, everyone. So, as I've mentioned, so we'll be having a Gita class now until 7 p.m. and then after 7 p.m. there'll be Gaur Arti. But before we commence the class, usually whenever there is any class, we start with a short prayer, short invocation in order to spiritualize the discussion. And that's what it's really going to be about. It's going to be a discussion that will really get you to think, really get you to connect with Krishna, and help you to understand the Gita. So let's start with a short prayer first, and then we'll continue. And I may ask questions, so I really truly hope you're paying attention. Om Jnanatimandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmei Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashachade Shatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we're reading the Gita, chapter 17. Verse 20. And like I said, if you don't genuinely have anywhere to go, I really recommend you stay. Srila Prabhupada always wanted that every morning we bathe our consciousness in the Bhagavatam and every evening bathe our consciousness in the Gita. The reason why is in between 7:30 a.m. in the morning and 6:30 p.m. in the morning, you practically have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And then around that, approximately 95% of your thoughts are repetition and 80% are negative. So therefore, when I say bathe your consciousness in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, I mean literally. If you continue doing the same thing again and again and again, you continue getting the same result again and again and again. So, and for those that have to go, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So, Before I start, I seek for the blessings and for the forgiveness of all the Vaishnavas that are watching this online and those that are here in the temple room. Vanchakalpa Tirubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhi Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I'm very sort of privileged and I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be able to share something for my own purification, for my own learning, and for my own deep understanding and practice of Krishna consciousness, and hopefully we'll all be able to get something out of this. Hare Krishna. So today what we're really trying to understand is about charity. Krishna here, in this particular chapter, what he talks about is the modes of material nature and how charity can be given in different nature. So I'm just going to read the translation and then the purport, just for time's sake, and also you'll be able to resonate with it more. How many of you are Sanskrit scholars, by the way? No, that's fine. Okay. So this is text 18. No, text 20. Text 20. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. So that is Srila Prabhupada's translation, and now we'll be reading the purport by His Divine Grace. I see Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. In the Vedic literature, charity given to a person engaged in spiritual activities is recommended. There is no recommendation for giving charity indiscriminately. Spiritual perfection is always consideration. Therefore, charity is recommended to be given at a place of pilgrimage and at a lunar or solar eclipse, or at the end of the month, or to a qualified Brahmana or Vaishnava, or in a temple. Such charity should be given without any consideration of return. Charity to the poor is sometimes given out of compassion, but if a poor man is not worth giving charity to, then there is no spiritual advancement. In other words, indiscriminate charity is not recommended in the Vedic literature. Quite fascinating and interesting. You see, I always believe that, not even just I believe, the reality is that sometimes we may have good intention and good desire, but if that good intention is not guided by wisdom, by knowledge, then we can actually wind up making wrong decisions. How many of you have experienced that? Guidance is the key, is the compass to compassion. You need to have a compass for compassion. Without a compass for compassion, then you can wind up doing anything and everything. And I'll share a story with you. The story is how once, I'm sure many of you know Hitler, and he had a lieutenant, and this lieutenant was getting a massage once. And then what he said to his masseuse is that, you see, I feel that I am doing the greatest service to humanity. Can you imagine that? Someone that's killed millions and millions of lives, and he says that I believe in ahimsa and I believe I'm doing the best thing in the world. And the masseuse said to him, what the hell is wrong with you? What do you mean? And he said, because I'm getting rid of all the evil people in this world. So you see how the path to hell can be paved with a good intention. If your good intention is not guided by wisdom, then you can actually wind up doing detrimental things. So therefore, Krishna isn't saying that not to give charity, but he's saying give charity with wisdom, with intelligence. So therefore, it goes to the right place at the right time for the right benefit. So in the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes that if by the grace of the Lord we get such opulence as material wealth, fame, power, education, and beauty, it is our duty to consider that they are all gifts of the Lord and must be used for His service, not our sense enjoyment. When we describe things, when we explain things, we talk in the sense, this is my money, this is my home, this is my wealth, this is my accumulation. But perhaps maybe this is where things are a little detrimental also. Because you see, ultimately in the Upanishad, what it talks about is how everything belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. So when we talk about the concept of mine, ultimately it all belongs to Krishna. Krishna has given us resources, He's given us facilities, and He's given us utilities to be able to utilize it in His service. in order to better understand him and to come closer to him. So therefore, the moment we identify something as mine, what it is that we're already making a pathway for ourselves to suffering. We're entangling, we're attaching ourselves to things that doesn't even necessarily belong to us. Krishna has created this playground. And in this playground, he's given us all the resources. And in those resources, we can actually choose. We have two aspects, an impulsive aspect and a reflective aspect. We can either utilize everything and become impulsive and try and see how we can enjoy material nature, or we can be reflective. We can ask ourselves, okay, these are the resources that Krishna has given me. How can I meditate and contemplate on it in what is the best means possible to utilize it in order to progress in my spiritual life? Am I clear so far? Yes, brilliant. So I want to share a short story with you. I like sharing stories, and stories are a very nice way of remembering lessons. So this story is about a king, and this king had 4 wives. I don't know if you know this or not. So this king had 4 wives. So starting from his 4th wife, he loved providing everything for his 4th wife. I'm sure you can all relate to that, husbands. Sometimes you love giving gifts to your wives, right? Yes? Sometimes. So the king loved giving all these wonderful gifts to his 4th wife. But then he had a 3rd wife. And with this 3rd wife, he loved to show off his 3rd wife. It was like his most prized possession. That was the 3rd wife. And he also had a fear of losing his 3rd wife. So 4th wife, he would give everything. 3rd wife, he was attached. He loved showing her off, but he was scared also of losing her one day. Then came his 2nd wife. And his 2nd wife was very considerate, very caring, very loving. She was always so attentive to him. And then he had his 1st wife, which he didn't like at all. So these are the 4 wives he had. What was the 4th wife? Tell me. 4th wife. Good. Someone else. 3rd wife. Yes. So he was scared of losing. 2nd wife. Someone else. She was kind to him, right? So what did you say? Devoted, yes. And 1st wife, he didn't like at all. So these are the 4 wives. So what is the analogy here? What is the moral? What is the story that I'm trying to explain to you all? Okay, so are you all ready? Are you eager? No? Are you on the edge of your seat? No? So disclaimer, and I always like to share this in my classes, that when you are just passively listening, you're only able to retain 5% of information. When you participate and you are active and you engage, you are actually able to remember 95%. And remembrance is so important, smaranam, because smaranam then actually leads you to the nididhyasanam, practicality, application. How many Bhagavad Gita classes have you actually sat through? How many times have you heard and listened to so many golden nuggets that can actually transform your spiritual life, but you didn't do anything about it? Krishna consciousness is so simple that we may actually just miss it if we just sit on the side. So therefore, can I get your full participation? Yes? Okay. So the 4th wife, so he was about to die, and he came to his 4th wife. And what did his 4th wife say to him? His 4th wife said to him, you know what? You're dying. I'm going to find someone else. You can't look after me. You can't take care of me. You can't provide for me. I'm going to look for someone that can do all that for me. That was the 4th wife. Then the 3rd wife was also similar. The 2nd wife was that, okay, you know what? You're dying. I'm going to come with you all the way to the cemetery, but I cannot die with you. You'll have to die on your own. That was the 2nd wife. And then the 1st wife, so imagine he went through his 4th wife. He was dying and he said to his 4th wife, I'm about to die. can you please come with me? She said no. Third wife, she said no. Second wife, she said no. The first wife, she said, you know what? I'll come with you. I'll come with you to your grave, to your cemetery. I'll come with you life after life after life. So what is this meant to represent? What is the analogy? If you know it, let me know. Do you know it? It's quite beautiful, actually, but also very. So the fourth wife is meant to represent the husband's wealth. His wealth and what he's accumulated. In this world, imagine, get the palms of your hand and face it upwards. In this world, we come with nothing and we leave with nothing. The only thing that remains with us is our karma. Not only that, the third wife represented his possession and his house. When you leave this world, do you take your house with you? Do you take your possession with you? No. It must all remain behind. People work so hard to upgrade their gadgets, their possessions, their buildings. But what about upgrading your consciousness? What about actually surrendering your wealth to whom it actually really belongs to, which is Krishna? Second, family and friends. His family and friends said to him that I can come with you all the way to the cemetery, but that's as far as it ends. I cannot come with you life after life. That is a journey that you must take on your own. So once someone asked me that, I'm so attached to my family and friends, how can I see them differently? Well, the reality is that if we see our children and we see our spouse and we see the people in our life as simply Krishna has given us an opportunity to take care of them and we are a caretaker, then our consciousness changes. Then we start to realize that the people that are in our life are not our objects to enjoy. They're not there to attend to our needs. We're there to help and facilitate for them in order to return to Krishna. Just as they're there to help us to also return to Krishna. When Krishna is centered in a relationship, when Krishna is centered in our finance, when Krishna is centered in our career, what happens is everything becomes spiritualized. And this is where we are experiencing an identity crisis. We think that we're just a material being in the material world going through material experience. But actually, we're a spiritual being on a physical journey of life, and the destination is to reach Krishna. Are you clear with me so far? Okay. Does it resonate? Yeah? So, there's a saying, and I'm sure we've all experienced this. We work so hard in our prime, so hard in our prime that we wind up losing health. And then when we wind up losing health, we try and do everything to get that health back with the wealth that we've made. And this is the vicious cycle that every single one of us are leading. We work for a duration of a period of our time so hard to make an income that at the cost of it, at the expense of it, our health is gone. And when our health is gone, we try and utilize all the income that we have to get our health back. But the difference is that if you lose income, you can gain income. But if you lose health, you're unable to recuperate your health back. So therefore, when Krishna talks about the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, the mode of goodness, what he is simply trying to say is that we must do our duty, we must perform our activity in the mode of goodness. And then also that income that we have, that money that we have, ultimately belongs to him. But you see, money is a magnifier of what is in our heart. So therefore, if genuinely our focus, our priority, our goal is to serve and please Krishna, if our goal is really to establish a relationship with the Lord, then money just becomes a means in which we can utilize to create a positive impact, a positive contribution, and to come closer to Krishna. But now, if our desire and intention is separate from the desire and intention of Krishna, then money is the means in which we want to enjoy in this world. But then we become trapped in this world. We suffer in this world. And we must repeat that cycle again and again in this world. So remember that money is just a reflection of whatever's in your heart. So therefore, when we understand that we may be utilizing money, we may be utilizing charity for the wrong reasons, then it is a reason for us to actually clean the ecology of our heart. Did you know that? Did you actually know that not only should we be working so hard to try and clear up the pollution of the world around us, but it's actually the pollution of our heart that we need to purify. There's a pollution that goes on in here. And that pollution has been going on for time immemorial because we want to enjoy separate from Krishna. Because we want to be the controller. Because we want to be the ones that we think everything comes from our ability, our resources. So we must actually clean the pollution of our heart before we can make any effective decisions and actions. So, and charity, sometimes it may be overwhelming. Oh my God, do I have to give such a huge proportion of my money to a temple, to devotees, to this and that? But there's different types of charity. And we can all start with first the charity of our mind, body, and speech. That is the first charity we can start with. Giving our mind, our body, and our speech for the service of the Lord. What does that mean? Utilizing our mind for Krishna consciousness. Bathing our mind, hearing, shravanam, kirtanam, smaranam, reading, remembering, discussing about Krishna. Mind, speech. The average person utilizes 300 to 400 words a day. Did you know that? And then out of that, as I mentioned earlier on, 80% of our dialogue is negative. So when we talk about utilizing our speech, what I mean is that centering Krishna around our speech. When we speak about Krishna, when we remember Krishna, the natural symptom of it is relief and confidence. So that is our speech. Mind, speech, and body. So this is a charity that is accessible to every single one of us that we can start with. But then Krishna gives us further hope. And that further hope is that Krishna says in the Gita, offer me a flower, a fruit, a water, and a leaf, but offer it to me with love and devotion, then I accept. No matter how poor you are, no matter how rich you are, everyone can afford a water, right? At least here. I know there's parts of the world where that may not be the case, but at least here. They can find leaf, they can find fruits, they can find all these things. These are simple, basic things that you don't need to be rich. Because sometimes one of the excuses or one of the things that people may come with is that I'm just not in a position to give right now. I'm not in a position to be able to give charity, to be able to provide. So let me wait. Let me wait when I'm in a better position, a better circumstance, and a better situation. But between waiting for when situations get better and not wanting to do something little, what happens is you wind up doing nothing. So therefore, best to just start from where you are and do the best that you can. And Krishna then just says, whatever you lack, I help you, I assist you there. Is that clear so far? Yeah, so, and ultimately we must understand this is a personal relationship that we're attempting to develop with the Lord. What does relationship mean? Relationship means that there must be a compromise. That's what relationship means, that it works two ways. It's not that when we need something and we want something, then we ask for it, then we turn our back. Have you ever done that to a friend? Have you ever done that to a family member? When they need something from you, you give. And when you need something from them, then you expect. Do you see that? And so this is a relationship. We must transform our impersonalism to personalist. So that means that the Lord is a person. And we come to the Lord whenever we're struggling, whenever there's difficulties, whenever there's challenges. But then we must also understand what pleases the Lord to begin with. And we must try our best. That's all the Lord wants, devotion and love. We must try our best. So otherwise, the Lord is ultimately Atmaram. He's self-satisfied. He doesn't need our money. He doesn't need our wealth. He doesn't need anything from us. He has all six opulence. But what it is that for the sake, because the Lord is also the greatest coach, for the sake of coaching us, then he's telling us, okay, do this, do that. These are the injunctions. These are the rules. These are the regulations. It's there to train us to become the best version of ourselves. It's there to train us to become more detached. And detachment doesn't mean just not performing our responsibilities and duties. Detachment means being detached from the results of our activities. Because when we're attached to the results of our activities, then what happens is frustration arises. Frustration arises, and when frustration arises, then anger. And of anger, then bewilderment of intelligence. So therefore, Krishna is coaching us in how we can become detached, but not just detached, how we can give. Give with a heart of love and devotion. And what does charity also do? What is the benefit of charity? The benefit of charity is that it helps us to be able to focus on what the goal is. So once Dronacharya was coaching Arjun. You know Dronacharya? Yes? Okay, fantastic. He was coaching Arjun. Not just Arjun, he wanted to teach a very fundamental lesson. So he brought all of these other saints, Maharaj Yudhishthira, all these saints, and there was like a bullseye, and he gave them like a bow and an arrow. And he said, okay, aim. But before you shoot, tell me, what is it that you see? So, different saints, they were saying that I see the branch, I see the trees, I see the trees, I see the branch, I see many different things. But then, when Maharaj Yudhishthira said, that I see the trees, I see the branch, I see the twigs, then he said to him, okay, you stop. And then he went on from different saints to different saints, and then he said, you stop. And then eventually what had happened was that then Arjun came, and then he said to Arjun, okay, aim. But before you shoot, tell me, what is it that you see? And what did Arjun say? He didn't say, I see the twig, I see the bird, I see the leaves. He said that I see the target, I see the bullseye. And so it's like, okay, you shoot. So therefore, what does charity help us to do? Charity also helps us to be able to recalibrate and to be able to focus on what is a priority in our life. To help us to understand that nothing belongs to us. That we must become an instrument, and whatever comes to us, we must render it and serve it, render it and utilize it in the service of the Lord. And when we do that, when we keep our eyes, they say that actually distractions come to those that keep their eyes off the prize. Shishi Radha Gokulananda ki, Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shishi Gaurnitai ki. So distractions come to those that keep their eyes off the prize. And that was the lesson of the story. It was that as long as we focus on the target, as long as we focus on the goal, then we actually avoid being distracted. We avoid being tempted. Charity fuels our spiritual tank so that therefore we don't become, we don't break down in this illusory world. What happens when you break down, you come out of the car and you see all these different distractions, and then you actually lose sight of where am I actually even going in the first place? So that's a similar analogy. So therefore, what it is that activities like charity, activities like austerity of the speech, all these things that Krishna is actually coaching Arjuna in right now are there to fuel your spiritual tank. So therefore, you don't actually break down in a foreign space, area, where then the likelihood of you being distracted and being tempted rises. You must remain in the car of bhakti. And the way to fuel that tank is through your activities. So that's also some few points. And then Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that the bewildered spirit soul under the influence of the three modes of material nature thinks himself to be the doer of activities, which in actuality carried out by nature. So therefore, here's the most important thing. When we think we own things, it's actually things that own us. When we think we own things, then it's things that own us. It's things that dictate our emotions. It's things that dictate our experience. And it's things that dictate our direction. And it's things that dictate the gap between our relationship with Krishna. So therefore, it's always important to remember that we are not the controller, that we don't own things, but it belongs to Krishna. That is what closes the gap between us and our relationship with Krishna. And so therefore, everything here is ultimately in order to be utilized for the service of Krishna. And then I'm just going to make some few points, and then we'll have 20 minutes. If you have any questions, then I always tell people that whenever a class or a discourse is being given, 90% of what is said is forgotten, but it's that last 10% of Q&A. So I'll try and create some space and some time for Q&A. So just to kind of summarize, the chapter 17, Krishna talks about how there's charity in the different modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Charity should be given out of duty at the proper time and place with the right heart set. It's not just a matter of I give, but it's the consciousness that you're giving in. What heart are you giving with? Because ultimately that's also what purifies you as a person, and it's also what benefits the person that is receiving that charity. Similarly, when we cook, we offer our food to Krishna, because if we just kind of eat for our own sense gratification or not with the right consciousness, then it affects us when we eat it, it affects us when we're cooking it, and it affects those that we give it to and their consciousness. So everything must be done with the appropriate consciousness. You see, Krishna consciousness is not linear. It's not about my external progress. It's not about my external transformation. But what about the transformation of heart? What about the transformation of your inner being? So that is more important, and that is what we must more look into than how much progress we're externally making. Because too much focus on external progress leads to pride. It leads to pride. It leads to arrogance. And the process of Krishna consciousness is humility. So therefore, it must be a transformation of the heart. So therefore, Krishna is telling us the proper time to give, the proper place to give, the worthy person to give. Does that mean that everyone else is not worthy? No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. We're not making that sort of discrimination. So that's the first thing. Then Krishna is saying that charity performed while expecting some return or in a grudging mood is said to be in a mode of passion. So therefore, when we give and we expect, that is a mode of passion. You see, someone told me something so beautiful this morning, told me, you see, the more I give, and I give with the heart of a giver, Krishna always gives back. Krishna always provides. Krishna always facilitates. But when you give, and you give with an expectation, then what it is that there'll always be difficulties. There'll always be challenges. There'll always be resistance. Now you've come to a place where you're over-endeavoring. So then lastly, charity performed at an improper place and time given to an unworthy person without respect and with contempt is in the mode of ignorance and yields negative results for consequences. That means charity given without any intelligence, without any wisdom, without any guidance. I'll leave you with this. We should try and avoid doing things whimsically. It's all well and nice having some sentimental emotions and feelings, especially in today's world, but our emotions must be guided by wisdom. For if it is not guided by wisdom, then we may think that we're making the best decisions, but it can actually wind up being detrimental. It can wind up being dangerous. The Bhagavad Gita is a manual. It's not just any ordinary scripture. It's a manual in how to lead your life, how to live, and how to perform and execute your activities in the best means, in the most spiritual means possible. And more importantly than that, the more we carry out our lives, the more we live in this world, the likelihood of us becoming attached increases more and more and more. We all have an attachment. But our meditation, we can aspire for it to regularly be that everything belongs to Krishna. Therefore, when we offer something to Krishna, we're just simply returning it. If I give you, like, let's say my phone or something, and I ask you, can you hold on to this? Are you going to take it and say it belongs to me now? No. You're going to hold on to it. And eventually, you'll give it back to me because it belongs to me. So similarly, this material world and everything in it, all the resources, facilities, it all belongs to Krishna. So therefore, when we're giving something, it's not that it belongs to me and I'm giving it, I'm just returning it. That is a better consciousness to approach any situation and circumstance. And then when you return it, you're the one that experiences and reaps the benefit. You're the one that makes an advancement. It's not that if you give something back to Krishna that he becomes more greater or less greater. Krishna always remains absolute in his power and in the fact that everything belongs to him. But rather, it's for our benefit. It's for our purification. Secondly, money is not the only thing you can give. If you think that money is the only charity, then it's not the only charity. You can give your time. You can give your resources. Sometimes people may donate some books, whatever it is. So you can give your time. You can give resources. You can render some service. There is so many means in which you can give. But the most important thing is give with devotion and love. Don't give to try and establish yourself as status. Don't give to make yourself seem something that you are not. Don't give out of pride or arrogance, but give out of humility, give out of love, give out of devotion. And that is the consciousness, that is the only thing that Krishna is asking of you, just to give with love and devotion. We can all give something. So therefore, our meditation, especially now that we've kind of passed Govardhan Puja, we're in the new year, and then we're kind of also coming into the new year of the Western part of the world. This could be a meditation that we can all have. Let's be a giver. But if we're going to be a giver, let's at least give in the right attitude. Let's at least give with the right intention. And what is that intention? Not to establish yourself a position, not to establish yourself a status, not out of pride, not out of arrogance, but out of love and devotion. And if you give, Krishna says, to the degree that you surrender, I reward accordingly. When you give with love and devotion, that creates a pathway in which you can come closer to Krishna. So, even a little given in the service of God rewards the giver hundreds and thousands of times. That's how amazing Krishna is. You want me to tell you something magical? Krishna is so amazing that he takes your small little endeavor and he magnifies it. That's how amazing Krishna is. It doesn't matter how incompetent that we may think we are. It doesn't matter if we think that we can't give enough, we're not good enough, we're not this. Whatever little you give, Krishna takes that and he magnifies it so magnanimously. And he's so appreciative and he's so thankful that he's like, okay, let me do something for this devotee. So there's a hope for us all in the Krishna consciousness movement. It doesn't matter whether you live in a temple or outside of the temple, whether you come to the temple regularly or you come once in a while. If you try and give and you try and render some service, but with the right heart, Krishna magnifies that. So it's not about what you're giving also. It's also about what you're holding back. And then I'll leave you with 2 letters from our spiritual teacher, Srila Prabhupada. So this is a letter that was written in January the 24th, 1977. Krishna will give you intelligence how to engage in honest, brilliant, glorious work on his behalf. There is no need to engage in anything dishonest. Krishna has given enough money, now earn by honest means. So the point is, the thing is, we suffer from 3 sort of different diseases, and I always mention this: criticism, comparison, and competitiveness. We look at what others are giving, what others are doing, and what it is that we actually then sort of knock ourselves out. Like, oh, but this person is giving so much more than I am. What does my charity mean? What does my endeavor mean? What's significant is what I'm doing when I look at the bigger picture of what others are doing. But when we get into this mentality, then what it is that we decrease our own faith. what happens is that we do a disservice to ourselves. Krishna isn't saying this person's giving me more, so I'll accept this, and this person's giving me less, so I'll accept less of this. What Krishna is saying is that everyone has a proportion of what they can give. Everyone has a certain ability, but also that, let me tell you something else that's interesting. Krishna understands your struggle. Krishna understands your difficulties. Krishna understands your situation and circumstance. So he's not saying that, look, I understand your situation, but I still want you to stretch yourself. No. He's saying, I understand your situation, so please just do it with love and devotion, and I'll accept. So therefore, there's no need to be dishonest in your charity. There's no need to be dishonest in your endeavor. Do the best that you can with what you can, and the rest Krishna will fulfill. And Krishna has given all the resources for that. And then finally, in the Krishna book, chapter 81, it says that what the devotee actually offers to the Lord is not needed by the Lord. He is self-sufficient. But if the devotee offers something to the Lord, it acts for his own interest, because whatever a devotee offers to the Lord comes back in quantity of 1,000,000 times greater than what was offered. One does not become a loser by giving to the Lord, but he becomes a gainer by millions of times. So I hope that gives you hope, that there is no loss or diminution. Whatever you give, ultimately you're a winner and a gainer. And so this process of sadhana bhakti, this process of giving in charity, and giving in mind, body, and speech, ultimately, you're a gainer. It benefits you, it purifies you, and when you're pure enough, you can understand Krishna, and Krishna gives even more and more resources and facilities for you to be able to interact with his devotees. I know sometimes there's devotees that have lived so far away from the temple, but because they've been doing such earnest and a work for Krishna, somehow Krishna facilitated for them to live closer to the temple. So ultimately, let Krishna take care of everything. You just try and give, you try and serve sincerely, serve honestly, do the best that you can. Krishna will always provide resources, facilities, and opportunities for you to perfect your life. Sadhya. So sadhana, the practice of spiritual life, leads to perfection. And that perfection is as accessible for every single one of us. Not just some of us, but all of us. So with that being said, thank you all so much. Does anyone have any question? I encourage. If not question, then does anyone have a reflection? So there's this very nice formula called recall, relish, and reflect. So if you don't have a question, then I'm sure you have a reflection. What stood out for you? Let's ask that. I don't know why I looked at you, but you seem like there's something you wanted to say. Precisely. So when we give without an expectation, then we don't become frustrated. And then we can always have a pleasant relationship with Krishna. Precisely. And have you ever noticed that when we're not over-endeavoring for something, beautiful things come out? But when we over-endeavor, then we just struggle. Thank you. What's your name? Himesh. Oh, Imantru. Thank you so much. Yes? Okay, good. Wait, can I just give you a mic so then everyone can hear you? And then also the online people can hear you. Okay, so you can pass it on to others.
Hello.
Yeah, so.
I just had a question based on charity. When you said you give without any expectation, what if when you are giving or someone is giving without any expectation, and there are circumstances which come in between and which don't allow you to give like you would with love and devotion? For example, if there are people stopping you from doing that job, what you're doing, what would you say to that? How would you...
If you are not able to give?
Yeah.
To a particular charity, you mean?
Yeah. For example, if I'm relentlessly giving someone help in any way. This is just an example. And somebody says, no, stop it, you're doing too much, you need to think about yourself. But myself is saying, no, I want to give as much as I can.
I think there's also a point there. You know, in the Nectar of Instruction, it also talks about how we shouldn't do too much of something and too little of something, but everything should be in moderation. And I think this is also an advice and a suggestion for everyone, that it's not a matter of going big or going home, that we shouldn't do too much, but everything should be consistent, gradual, and in accordance to what we're capable of. Otherwise, maybe there is a point. You see, the thing is, when we do too much, we may feel good in the moment, but over time we burn ourselves out. And then we're not able to help ourselves. And what does it say? God helps those that help themselves. So everything must be consistent. It must be gradual. It must be within the capability of what we're comfortable with. We can carry on for a long duration of time. Rather than something that, okay, I can do it and maintain it for a year, 2 year, 3 year, but then as soon as the economy drops, then I struggle because I don't have any savings. I don't have anything to help my own family. And yes, you know, the thing is, we must surrender and we must rely on Krishna, but then also we must be intelligent. We must be intelligent. If I say that I'm going to give everything and I'm going to rely on Krishna to give me back, then that's not proper intelligence. Proper intelligence is I have faith in Krishna. I rely on Krishna, but I will also do the needful. And when Krishna sees that we're doing the needful, he'll also help us on the side. Does that make sense? So Srila Prabhupada said, don't surrender your intelligence. Use your intelligence to surrender.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This young boy has been very eager and patient to either share a reflection or a question.
I have a question.
Okay, go on.
Who wrote the Bhagavad Gita?
Who wrote the Bhagavad Gita? The Bhagavad Gita, it was so, and it's quite interesting that you asked that question. So the Bhagavad Gita was spoken in time immemorial. It was spoken by Krishna to Lord Brahma. And then it went through the whole parampara. So from a saint to another saint to another saint. But what had happened was at some point, and this is something that you should be very mindful of, Chinese whisper. At some point, the message became lost, broken. And when it became broken 5,000 years ago, Krishna came into this world again and he sang the Gita to Arjuna. But actually, you know, when we say Krishna spoke the Gita, and this is a very good addition, it was a Sanjaya and Dhritarashtra. So Sanjaya was relaying the whole battle of Kurukshetra to Dhritarashtra. And so that's how the Bhagavad Gita that we have now has kind of come about. But it's always been there, time immemorial, by Krishna, the Supreme Lord. I think he wants to answer your question. Or you want to also ask? It's amazing that the kids are asking questions. That's good.
In the Kurukshetra, why did Arjuna decide to fight?
That's a good question too. You see, Krishna is so amazing. Krishna is so amazing because he knows that we have a very short attention span. So he likes to captivate us with these stories and pastimes and what is it like, lessons, life lessons. So therefore, a scene was set in which Krishna can come into this world. And what it is that a war took place, and that war, there's so many morality, so many lessons. So the fight happened because it was a fight between the Pandavas and the Kurus. And so, you know, just like we have it today, the Kurus were trying to sort of annex or take over the kingdom, but the Pandavas were there to defend themselves. And Krishna is always on the side of those that are righteous, those that are attempting to fulfill their duty, and those that have faith in Krishna. So therefore, externally, it happened because it was a war between the Pandavas and the Kurus. But internally, it happened because Krishna wanted to set a scene in which he can all teach us a lesson, different lessons. So when you go through the Gita, Krishna talks about many, many different things. And so therefore, those many, many, many things wasn't just to coach Arjuna, but it was to coach every single one of us. Time immemorial, life after life. Okay, all the kids. Let's see how much time we have to. Okay, we've got 3 more minutes before the conch shell blows. So, reflection or question? Okay.
Why did they write the Bhagavad Gita?
So I answered that earlier on, recently. The Bhagavad Gita was sung and it was spoken. And the reason why it was spoken was because Arjun was in a difficult situation, just like you go through difficult situation when you go to school. And sometimes you come to your mom and ask for guidance and help. So Arjun went to the seed-giving father, which is Krishna, and he also asked questions because he needed help.
What does Krishna do for Arjun in the war?
He coaches him, he guides him. And nothing is more powerful and nothing is more beautiful and beneficial than wisdom. If you give someone like whatever it is, it may help them temporarily, but you give people wisdom and that can last with them forever. That is amazing actually. It's amazing that the kids have more questions than the adults. I'm actually very amazed. Okay, so can we give a round of applause to the kids first? That's really nice. Any other reflection? Was that it? Okay. Thank you so much. Antara, Srimad Bhagavat. Okay, go on.
Yeah, the one thing you mentioned about he was, as he saw Krishna's everything having.
Yeah, everything belongs to Krishna, yeah?
Belongs to Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the good reflections.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so 1 more minute, so we've all made it. Thank you so much. Antara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Winter Book Marathon ki. Tagore Pramanande.
सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की गौर निताय की श्रील प्रभुपाद की नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी सरस्वती देवे पूर्वाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी प्रश्यतादिप्रकारिणे Heva Jaya Jaya Gaurachande Bharati Kasoga Jaya Gaurachande. The word is down the top there. Jnana Vitatavani Jaha कोटि चंद्र जीने भजन उजाला जल देसे दानमाला कोरे जलमाला तेरा सुख नारद मैं गद Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare please, everybody can bow down. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajkacharya Astatara Sakshi Sriman A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajkacharya Astatara Sakshi Sriman Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Radha Kund Sham Kund Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mathura Dwarka Dham ki. Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai ki. Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani ki. Samved Bhakta Vrinda ki. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to the assembled devotee. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Just remain seated, please. We'll do the Nrsimhadev prayers, and then you can have, if you have to go, then you can have some prasad served outside. Thank you. Mahaprasad. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste We're going to have some kirtan now. So if everybody can face over where Prabhupada is, so we can continue with the chanting of the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, we're going to chant some Maha Mantra. It's for the departed soul. Everybody please join in. This is very simple. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 3 words repeated 16 times. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. All together. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
just wanted to say thank you to everybody for joining us this evening to celebrate the life of our late grandfather, who passed away peacefully at home a few days ago, and pray for the peaceful onward journey of his soul. Those of you who don't know, my grandfather Vijay was a geologist and extremely passionate about his subject up until the last few days of his life. He asked us to bring him back rocks from some of our recent holidays and enjoyed looking at them and telling us all about the various things, which is something that we'll always, a memory that we'll always cherish. But the most special thing about him was his personality, and those of you that had the pleasure of ever meeting him will agree that he was an incredibly special soul. He was, though it's difficult to put into words how special he was, but he was very softly spoken. He was very kind, very generous, and I just touched so many people with his very sweet and special nature. So thank you again very much for joining us today, and it really means a lot. Hare Krishna.
Someone wants to see it. Push it forward. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Rama 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 Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति चारु स्वामिनिति नामिने स्निग्धचेत सुप्रणीतवाभिनं च रसाप्युतं प्रभुपादकथात्राणं नौमि भक्ति चारु नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशादि देशधारिणे श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna everyone. So first of all, deep condolences to the family, to the Bhate family, for the sad loss. So whenever there is loss in the family, one has no alternative but to actually tolerate the situation. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna, one of the first instructions he gives to Arjuna is about tolerance. Matra sparshastu kaunteya, shitoshna sukha dukkada, aramapa inyo nitya, stam titikshasa bharata. Lord Krishna is saying, anitya, so the happiness and distress that comes in life is anitya, is not permanent. And the example he gives, the analogy in that verse that Lord Krishna gives, is the winter and summer seasons. As he says, as the winter and summer seasons come and go, in life, happiness and distress will come and go. And at the end he says, one must learn to tolerate these ups and downs. The material world is never going to be a happiness in a straight line. Neither is it going to be distress in a straight line. It's going to be a wave. It's always the case. That is the way the material nature has been designed. At the end of the day, the material world is there to give us miseries. It is explained that we are all spirit souls. We all don't belong here. Our home is not this. Our home is a spiritual world, back there, back with Krishna, back to Godhead. But at some point, the spirit soul rebelled against Krishna. And this is the reason why we are all sent down to the material world, which is temporary. And in the 8th chapter, it is explained that it is temporary and full of miseries. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Full of miseries and temporary. So the temporary life as well as the temporary situations, we must learn to tolerate. It is said that one who has taken birth is sure to die. And one who has died is sure to take birth again. Jata sihi dhruvam mrityu, dhruvam janma mitasicha. As the soul goes from one body to another, it transmigrates. Just like in this body, the soul has moved from a childhood body to a youth body, to an old age, and finally to death. What we call death actually is explained in the Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna as just a change of body. Vasam shijirnani yatha vihaya, like we change our clothes. We give up old clothes, old torn clothes, and put on new clothes. Similarly, the soul, when the body gets either too old or not fit for purpose for any reason, it may be because of an accident or because of any other disease or whatever, at that time the soul decides to move on. The body is temporary, but the soul is eternal. As we explained before, the soul belongs to the spiritual world. As the Lord is Satchit Ananda, so is the soul. Soul is permanently, eternally Satchit, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. But right now, it is trapped in this temporary body because of previous karmas. So, Vijay Prabhu, was very, very fortunate how he left his body. As I said, every living entity has to die. You have to take on another body. But how we leave this body is very, very important. I hear that when on Wednesday, the whole day, there were prayers being sung next to him. And even before that, for months leading up to this, whilst he was struggling with health, he was constantly listening to Harikatha. He was listening to Srila Prabhupada. So all those wonderful narrations were going through his ear to his heart and cleansing his heart. And the last few hours, he was surrounded by a family, loving family, singing kirtan. So, as the soul leaves, if he leaves singing the kirtan, if the soul is hearing the kirtan, it is said that even if a living entity is unconscious at the end of life, it is said that the hearing is a last faculty that switches off. So the soul is hearing. The person may, to us, be seemingly unconscious, and we think, okay, well, he's probably not listening to what we're saying, but the soul can hear right to the last moment. So that soul who leaves this world thinking of Krishna, because when he's hearing of Krishna, he's thinking of Krishna, the soul is thinking of Krishna, then there's only one destination. Krishna says again in the 8th chapter, 8.5, Antakale chamam eva smaran mukpa kalevaram yah prayati samad bhavam yati nashata samshaya. Ashamshaya, Krishna says, without doubt, whoever leaves this body thinking of me will come back to me. So very, very rare souls get that opportunity. We have examples of souls leaving this body in a very, very, very sad situation where they are surrounded by non-devotees, and they're all they're thinking about and all they are reminded about is material life. And in that state, when they leave the body, you know what's going to happen. They're going to come back. Again, birth, death, old age, and disease. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jatare janani sayanam. Again and again, again and again. The whole idea of being given this rare human form, we've been given all the souls, we've been on this journey, as we know, 84 lakh, 8.4 million different species of life. Finally, we've been awarded this wonderful body, of human body, where we have the faculties, where we have the intelligence and the developed consciousness to ask the question, why am I here? What am I doing? What is my purpose? All the other yonis, animals, birds, insects, they don't have this opportunity. Only the human beings have this opportunity. So we ask this question, and finally we make our way back home by learning to spend this time and leaving this body at the end, listening to Krishna, hearing about Krishna, remembering Krishna. And this is the guarantee that we will then go back. His Grace Radhakanda Prabhu once in his class was explaining how different people leave their bodies. And within a short time, he had a situation where he had to witness the passing away of two sort of people that he knew. I think he was called there to the hospital for prayers, and he was there. The first one, he said, this person, his son or his daughter was in USA, and on the way, because this person was quite ill, the person was on the way, the child was on the way back from, so all he was thinking about is, so apparently he was so ill that he was going in and out of consciousness. And doctors had given him only a few hours. But whenever he was conscious, all he was thinking about, is she here? Is she here? Has she arrived? So his mind was stuck in his daughter or son. And that's how he left his body. So imagine his attachment to this family was so strong that he's going to come back. It is said that we come back. According to our karma, we will come back. And if our attachment to the family is so strong, we'll come back to the family. But mind you, not always as a human being. You always think, okay, yeah, it's fine if I come back to this family as child of this family, it's fine, isn't it? But you don't know. According to our karma, and it may not even be this particular life karma. In this life we may have lived very, very piously without committing any sins. But the way the karma works, the science of karma is very, very complicated. So you could be suffering karma from your many, many previous lives. So you cannot guarantee your next birth. So in that attachment, when you're very, very attached to your home and your family, you will come back to that family, but you may come back as a cat in the house, or a dog in the house, or even an insect in the house, right? So this is the destination of somebody who's leaving that body in that sense. Now the next person that Radhakanta Prabhu spoke about was a lady who was a devotee. And devotees, today I made a text somebody sent to me from my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Manor, Swami Guru Maharaj, and it was very, very apt. If I can I kept it open, if I can find it. So basically there it is said, the devotees do not hear, now I'll read it. He says, a devotee does not want to avoid death. Rather, he learns, he practices how to die in the right way. When one dies in the right way, then what happens? He goes back to Godhead. Parikshit Maharaj is one such example. When he found out that his life was going to be coming to an end, he just started to prepare himself for that moment. So we all know about Parikshit Maharaj. So this Mataji, as I was saying in the hospital, she had this knowledge. And she told everybody in the room, unless you're going to sing the Mahamantra, unless you're going to read something to me from the Bhagavatam or the Krishna book, please leave this room. Do not let anybody come here and start crying. Do not let anybody come here to talk about anything else. So she was also unconscious, but she came back into consciousness just for a moment, just to give this message to the family, and she was then unconscious. The family was singing kirtan, reading to her, and she left the body. Look at the contrast of the two departures. So here we have a very, very fortunate soul, like Vijay Prabhu, who actually left his body listening to Harikatha. So the lesson we have to learn, devotees, is that, yes, we all have to leave the body, but we need to live this life in such a way that we can remember Krishna. Chant his names, read his pastimes, listen to his katha, come to the temple, do some worship, do some seva. This way, if we are involved with Krishna katha throughout our life, there's a chance that we may remember him at the end of life. We may not have anybody around us. Vijay Bhai was very fortunate, he had a family around him to chant. If there is nobody around us, but if we have done some Krishna katha, if we have done some devotional service in life, there is a chance that we will think of him. Because otherwise, there's so many things in life. We are leaving this body, but we'll be thinking about our family, our children, our property. There'll be 1,000 thoughts in our heads. And these are all useless because they're all going to be left behind. Only thing that the soul is going to carry with it is bhakti. So when the soul, the most thing he needs at the time, the soul needs to listen to Krishna katha, Krishna's names. And then it's the best chance for it to move on to the next destination. Even if Vijay Bhai has not completed his devotional life in this particular journey, it is explained in Bhagavad Gita that there is no loss. Even a little bit of devotional service, hearing, chanting, even a little bit of devotional service is not gone vain. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Krishna says, Pratyavayona vidyate. He says, Swalpam apyasa dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. A little bit of devotional service done in this life can save us from the most dangerous type of fear. And what is the most dangerous type of fear, anybody? Death. Most people will say death. But actually, devotees, as we just heard, they're not afraid of death. Devotees are prepared for death. Because we've made the arrangements, we are not afraid of death. Devotees are afraid of coming back in this world again. This world, we are in Kali Yuga now. You can see, anybody who was my similar age, you know how the world is degraded in the last 50 years. And it's degrading fast. So we don't want to come back here. Why do we want to come back here? So the greatest fear is to have to come back here. We don't want to come back here and suffer birth and death, old age and disease. We want to get back home. So, Trayate Mahato Bhayat, it saves you. Little bit of advancement on this path can save us from the most dangerous type of fear. So thank you. We just offer all our prayers today to Vijay Bhai's soul. And it is said that, whenever we do anything auspicious, we want to start a new business, get a new car, whatever, what do? We do Ganesh Puja. Because Lord Ganesh removes the vignas from our material activities. So it is explained that similarly, Lord Nrsimhadev, if anybody doesn't know Lord Nrsimhadev, the photo is there in the corner, half lion, half man, incarnation of Lord Krishna. It is said that for the soul who's passing away, or even for us once we are living, Lord Nrsimhadev removes our obstacles, all the vignas from our spiritual path. So I'd like to request Madhukumari perhaps, or even Meghna, to sing the Nrsim prayers. And we offer, and whilst we are singing, if you know the words, please sing along. If you don't, just keep Vijay Prabhu in our prayers and just pray hard that all the obstacles are removed from his spiritual path. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Daladayine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakanaye. Ito Nrsimho Parato Nrsimho. Yato yato yami tato Nrsimho. Bahe Nrsimho Hridaye Nrsimho. जय श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की जय, सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय।
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshadarine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Jaya Gaurani Dai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजक आचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णविन की जय। नाम आशा आशा ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तविन की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। नवदीप मायपुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम शक्ति जगन्नाथपुरी पुरी धाम की जय। श्री राधा कुंड की जय। श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की जय। सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय। गौ निताय की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the seven devotees. All glories to the seven devotees. All glories to the seven devotees.
You want to sing the shingle?
Namaste Ahe Nishingo Ridaye Nishingo
Aye Nasiba Ridaye Nasiba
Nishingamanim Sadanam Prapale
Nasimadim Sharanam Prapaye
Javakara Kamalavare Akamadbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anavinga Keshavajita Yadahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare
Avakara Kamala Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhringa Keshavadisam Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish
Jai Jagadish Hare
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Jayana Shingadev Jayana Shingadev Jayana Shingadev Jayana Shingadev
Jaya Nasimadev 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 Jaya Nasimadev
Jaya Nara Hari Nara Hari Nara Hari Jaya Nara Hari Jaya Nara Hari Nara Hari Nara Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha Jaya Nara Hari Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha Jaya Nara Hari
Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha
Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Bhakta Prahlad Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Bhakta Prahlad
Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Bhakta Prahlad Bhakta Prahlad
Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Lakshmi Nrsimhadev Bhagavan Ki Jai Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai O glories to the assembled devotees Hari Bol
Hare Krishna. I asked Sujata to say something, but she didn't want to. So on behalf of her, I just want to thank all of you for coming this evening. I'm sure it has given her a lot of peace and calm that we've all chanted together for her, for this wonderful soul's onward journey. While going out, there is Mahaprasad being served in the reception, so please do take some Mahaprasad. If you want to sit and continue, Prem Sankirtan Prabhu is going to chant some more. But if you're going, then please, there is Mahaprasad being served in the reception. Thank you so much for coming. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Gopal Nanda, Radha Gopal Nanda, Radhe Jaya Radha Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Rama, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshmana Rama,
Jaya Sita Lakshmana, Jaya Sita Lakshmana.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Gaur Premanande.
Hari 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 Bol.